I don't know about you, but I have made literally hundreds of journals, and after making all of those, I wanted to share with you my favorite way to make junk journal covers. So here I am with 3 sheets of 12 by 12, which is what you'll need for this project, and some pieces of chipboard. You will need 2 pieces of chipboard that is 9 inches by 6 inches and 1 piece that is 1 3/4 by 9 inches if you're making a journal the size that I am here. And then I have the 2 pieces of Kraft colored cardstock that's just medium weight, say 65-pound cardstock. And then the chipboard is heavyweight chipboard from scrapbook.com. I believe it was 52 point paper or chipboard is what they call it. But it's heavy duty, heavyweight chipboard. There we go. I'm moving things out of the way. And when you're preparing this, you'll want both wet glue and double-sided tape that's of an excellent quality. I'm using glitter glue or art glitter brand glue here. And then that seam where we've joined the paper together, I like that to run down the spine or the middle of the book, so I know it's not going to end up in any of the seams where paper's folding and bending. And to do that, I put the spine piece, that 1 3/4 inch by 9 inch tall piece, and I set this inside back cover to the right of that, leaving at least a chipboard's distance between the paper. I've gotten used to judging that by eye, but you may want to use a scrap of chipboard that you can just nestle down between the spine piece and that inside back cover. This is the inside of the front cover going down on the left. So for this first stage, we can use wet glue. That's more affordable. And this art glitter brand glue dries so quickly that waiting for it to dry won't be an issue. About the time I'm done cutting it out and scoring the paper, that glue will be dry. So I trimmed the paper down just to make it easier to work with. And I trim it to about 2 inches. 1.5 inches to a 2-inch border is just about right, I feel, for wrapping around the edge of this. And I keep those off-cut pieces. I like to use those to either make tags out of or to back things onto that I want to be more durable, like little paper dolls or things that I might want to raise up. But for now, I've set those aside, and I am folding the paper around the edge of the cover. I'm using my scissor handle here because I had failed to bring my bone folder to the filming area. I can count on one hand the number of times I have remembered my bone folder when I'm thinking about filming. I think glue, I think all of the supplies, and I almost never think bone folder. But the scissor handle works great. The bone folder is just, I think, more visually appealing for the video. The handles work just as well. It is a little bit easier to use as well. Using the scissor handle is a little bit more clumsy than using the small, dainty little bone folder. So what I'm showing with my finger there is how I've shown the corner that needs to be cut out, created by the creasing, and you want to leave an 1/8 of an inch gap between the edge of the chipboard and where you're cutting it away, like there. See? And I do that to all 4 corners. If you save the off-cut corners and you've cut away too close, you can just glue one of those corners back down. Or if you're going to use metal corners, decorative metal corners, then that is also less important because the decorative corner would cover up any tiny little gap where the chipboard might be showing. So after I'm finished removing the bulk by cutting out the corners, I grab my favorite double-sided tape, which is from scrapbook.com. It's often on sale because it's their brand tape, and I found it to be excellent quality and very reliable. So I've tried experimenting with ordering from Amazon suppliers with varying success, both with the product and with maybe reordering, just getting something totally different than what I had ordered initially. So anyhow, the scrapbook.com, excellent customer service, good double-sided tape. I get my chipboard from them as well. I probably already mentioned that. It's a heavyweight Chipboard, I believe they weight the chipboard in points. I think it's 52 point or 55 point chipboard. But the double-sided tape for the rest of this wrapping means that we won't have to wait for the glue to dry before we can work it into the seams and fold it. I'm going to hold it up here so that you can see where I've tried to work the double-sided tape so that it joins at the back. You want to be careful, especially if you're using a bone folder, because you can poke through the paper when you're working that together. In this case, using the scissor handle is an advantage because it's unlikely to fit into the crack well enough to poke a hole through the paper. But if you did, that double-sided tape would hold it together. Here I've overlapped the double-sided tape to try to get it to fit the border piece that I had instead of just picking thinner tape. And then I just curl inside any tape that was hanging out past the edge. This will all be covered up. One of the things I like about making a cover in this manner is that it looks neat, clean, and professional, and it just makes a nice start to every project. Constructing the cover in this manner just gives me a lot of pride and confidence that it's going to be a nice finished product when I'm done, and that it will look polished and clean and neat. There won't be any masking tape hanging out. There will be no masking tape that I have to hide by gluing lace over the top of it so people can't see, the ugly parts that from not knowing how to assemble it. Or maybe that's a style. I know when I first started, I just wrapped it with masking tape, and then I would glue the lace anywhere where masking tape was showing, or ink it up really good. And that actually worked well. Nobody's dangling from the cover, off a cliff to save their life by, hanging off that cover. And they don't take on nearly the stress that one might think when you're looking at construction methods. This is both durable, but ideally, again, attractive and polished. We're going to use a bunch of junk, but we don't want it to look like trash when we're done. We want to trash to treasure this. Take trash and make it into treasure. The outside of the cover has been constructed and it's already looking pretty good. I will want to reinforce the spine and cover that. And in many cases, I don't finish covering the inside of the cover until I'm decorating, and that's when I finish covering the inside of the front and back cover. But I have some scraps that perfectly fit when I created this piece here. And I'm just showing you what I had done was I made it an inch wider, or 2 inches wider, so that there will be an inch on either side of that spine piece to overlap. I don't want anything lifting up or curling from the stress. Not that that's likely once the edges of that are pinned down under another piece of paper. You'll see here in a minute. I get out my double-sided tape. I could have made it easier for myself here if I had also grabbed a roll of smaller tape, but instead I insisted on, just using what I had here. I don't like to leave the filming area. Once I start filming, I like to try to get it in one take. That's probably not realistic. Another tip would be maybe not to do this over your book. I liked the contrast of the dark book, and I felt like that would show up better on camera than the light background, but it did create a little bit of challenge for myself. You could see no harm was done. I was able to just lift up that tape, and that's not tape I want anyways. So having that, a little bit of the sticky removed from that should help out my scissors. When you get your scissors sticky, there's a couple different things you can use to get the gummed up adhesive off your scissors. One is baby wipes, work really good, and if you wash those out, you can reuse them like washcloths to wash down counters and cabinets or whatever. They're good to reuse over and over. You can just wash them out in the sink. And then I was watching myself work at that double-sided tape and forgot what I was talking about. Oh, right, gummed up scissors. And another thing that you can use that I've just learned and had not tried was hand sanitizer. I had lady said she kept hand sanitizer in her craft cart because it's great for cleaning her scissors. I thought that was great. That was a great little tip there. So I'm working the scissors into the seam, trying to get that double-sided tape to adhere to from the front to the back of that wrapped scrapbooking paper. And then I go around to the outside and just work that into the seams there. It's really looking good. And again, most times I would just stop there and I would wait to use a piece of decorative paper like that during the journal assembly. But instead, I have those scraps that are just the right size. Or just enough. I would have ideally made those quite a bit wider, but they were just enough to fit in here, and then there were no scraps. I like trying to use up all my scraps during the project and not be left with a pile. I do have a pile of scraps. It's about time for a scrap project, so I can use that up. But this is just about done. I hope you like this, and if you give it a try and you make a journal cover using this way, or you decide to like it, I would love to hear about that. There are multiple different ways to make journal covers, and I'd like to do maybe a whole series where I show each different way that you can make a journal cover. You can do a no-sew binding method. Really, with this base, there's several different directions you could go, and maybe next time I'll sit down with the base and we'll do like a part 2 for this. I'll create another base in the same color paper and everything, and then we'll take off. Yeah, it's durable, it's strong, it's clean, it's professional, and whether you're making a scrapbook, actually the skills for making this in this manner set you up for making all kinds of other projects, making scrapbooks, or making those sweet little boxes that I make to go with the scrapbooks. But thank you for watching. I really appreciate you all, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Please like, subscribe, and share my channel with anyone else you think might enjoy the content. Again, thanks for watching, and have a wonderful day.